Hello there. Namaste. So this is Hinduism Explained. I have a lot of people telling me that it's more of a way of life than it is a belief. And, you know, I don't understand it. It's just everyone has different things to say because I guess there are whole different readings and a bunch of different things. So yeah, I mean, even yoga came from like one of the structures that comes down, like one of the deities, I guess it would be the term, gods. It gifted mankind yoga. I mean, there's so many different things that I don't think I'd ever be able to truly fathom, but a simple explanation, I guess, is all I really need. So this'll help me out with that.
Hinduism, the religion of over 1 billion people, is the world's oldest religion and probably the most confusing one to non-Hindus. Some say it isn't even a...
That is exactly what I just said. So, okay. I'm not the only one that's alone, because every time I hear it, it's like I'm hearing like 20 different things and I'm like, what? What?
religion, more a way of life. Hindus themselves call it the Sanatana Dharma, the eternal tradition. So, what is Hinduism? Does YOLO apply to them? And who is this elephant guy? Well, let's find out.
Ganesh was beheaded by his father. I know that much.
Hinduism is the world's oldest active religion. It's the result of the merging of the ancient Indus Valley civilization and the nomads that came into India around 1500 BC. Some scholars say it could even go back many more thousands of years. But we won't delve too deep into dates, because dates in Hinduism are very
They be aliens. You know, that would explain a lot of what's in the world. Stonehenge, a few of the creations we have, pyramids, things like that were just like masterful for the creations of that point in time. But yeah.
controversial.
Oh, the fact that there's an entire castle carved out of a mountain in India.
One thing is certain. Hinduism is old. Like at least 36 Betty Whites. Hinduism has been around for so long that it and the concept of India itself are inseparable. Hindu and India even come from the same word. Sanskrit was the ancient language of the Hindus, and the Sanskrit name for the Indus River is Sindhu. The ancient Persians who sat across the Indus tended to switch their S's to H's, so Sindhu became Hindu. So the people living across the river became Hindus. The Persians told the Greeks, who dropped that very not Greek-like H, stuck in a very Greek-like E to the end, and boom, India. Hinduism has a long...
So I guess that everyone was just okay with like, yeah, you can call us whatever you want. You can call us whatever you want. Now, well, I guess that explains why everyone in India has different relations. You're from Punjab, you identify you're Punjab. If you're from Kashmir, you're Kashmiri. If you're no matter where you are, you identify as that instead of Indian, because, well, Indian is made up by everyone outside.
long history. But today we'll be focusing on just the core beliefs of Hindus, because I don't have the willpower to animate a 3-hour-long video.
Thank you.
Hindus are a diverse group. Some are strict, dedicating their lives to prayer, while others don't believe in any gods but still follow Hindu philosophy. To make things easier to understand, let's break Hinduism down into 7 core beliefs. So, here's my rap about the 7 Hindu beliefs.
You promised you weren't gonna do the rap. Come on, you're better than this, man.
Fine. Here's the regular version then. 1. Belief in...
Does he have a rap version? If he has a rap version, I need to go and listen to it. That just because that would be so funny to listen to.
1. Universal soul. Hindus believe in a universal soul known as Brahman, a formless, genderless source of all reality. Brahman is the universe and the material that makes up the universe. It's a trippy concept, but think of Brahman as an ocean and everything else as drops propelling out of that ocean. Separate for a time, but still the same thing, if that makes sense.
Nope.
2. Belief in an immortal individual soul. In Hinduism, souls are known as Atman. Actions of the soul while in a body have effects on that soul's next life. When you die, your soul moves to another new body. This is called transmigration. The kind of body the soul inhabits next is determined by karma. 3. Belief in karma. Karma is action. usually good or bad actions that affect society. For Hindus, karmic actions in the past affect us today, and our actions today affect our soul's future. 4. Belief in moksha. The goal in Hindu life is to somehow get back to Brahman. If a Hindu can do this, they will be freed from the cycle of life and death. This is called moksha. You can achieve moksha by realizing your oneness with Brahman. How you realize this is up to you. For this reason, Hindus pray, "Lead me from the unreal to the real." 5. Belief in the Vedas.
So the world itself is the unreal because it's a droplet that's still suspended and they want to get back to the real. I guess that kind of makes sense. I guess that kind of makes sense. I mean, religion's, I say religion when everyone says it's a way of life, but I guess everyone has a different perspective on it. Those who don't believe and just use it as a way of life, see it as a way of life and don't see it as a belief. They wouldn't do the prayers. But yeah, I mean, that actually does sound kind of a wholesome prayer to just this time right I have right now is limited, very limited. Hopefully I can do what I can here to the best of my abilities, bring joy, happiness, bring peace, not trying to cause issues. You always just try to be the best person you can to help other people become the best person they can be.
The Vedas are Hindu sacred books of knowledge. There are 4 Vedas. Hindus believe that all 4 were divinely revealed to ancient Hindu sages. We'll take a closer look at the Vedas in a while. 6. Belief in cyclical time. For Hindus, there are no beginnings or endings. Time is a series of cycles, each cycle containing 4 ages or yugas. There's the Krita, the Treta, the Dwapara, and the Kali. Added together, the 4 yugas total about 4.32 million years. At the end of each cycle, declining human morality leads to the total destruction of reality. Hindus believe that we are in the 4th and final yug, Kali. 7. Belief in Dharma.
A lot of people believe we're in the final stages of our trajectory, whatever your belief is. There is that. Everyone thinks we're in the end times. It's like, we only got a bit of time left. But that can always be said, especially if there's 4.93 million years. You could say that for a million years and still be close to it.
Dharma is a difficult word to translate to English. Proper behavior is the best that I could come up with. Dharma maintains balance in the universe. As long as everything in the universe, like animals, plants, and humans, follow their Dharma, then everything will be fine. If they break from the Dharma, though, things will be super not fine. Each being has its own Dharma. A lion's Dharma is to kill and eat antelope. A king's Dharma is to rule well. A subscriber's Dharma is to smash the like button and ring the notification bell. For humans, their specific Dharma is usually based on their age and their...
I gotta say, I like how he just threw that in there. I gotta say, that was, yes, like, share, and subscribe.
caste. An old priest will have a very different Dharma than a young merchant, for example. So those are the 7 core beliefs of Hinduism.
So I guess it's kind of like what I just explained a moment ago about just trying to be your genuine self, just trying to be a good person, to bring others up, just be genuine. Be yourself. Don't try to be other people. Like, that's one thing you see with a lot of things where people see someone else and they try to emulate someone else. I mean, heck, you see that. I see that on social media all the time. Like, there are other YouTubers who realize the success of other YouTubers and they try to do the exact same thing of those other YouTubers. You get caught in that trap of losing yourself and trying to emulate this idea that you think people want, when it's not that idea people want. People just want to know the true you. Like, people would rather know the true you, whether it's a complete despot, would that be the proper term for like a scoundrel, I guess, or whether you're an upright, honest, genuine person. They would rather know than completely find out that they've been deceived. I mean, how many people have been deceived by people who have channels like I do and it turns out to be their complete farce? I was like, yeah, it happens. I mean, you get trapped in it. Like I mentioned in one of my other videos, power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Again, I need to remember who said that. I'll have to look it up at some point. But you just try to be your genuine self. You try to bring more into the world than you take from it. if that really means anything this day and age.
Can understand the Hindu mindset. Unlike Christianity or Islam, Hinduism is a non-profit organization. There is no Jesus or Muhammad for Hindus. There is no Bible, Quran, or Torah. Instead, they have a bunch, and I mean a bunch, of different sacred texts. The four Vedas form the basis of the Hindu faith. So let's take a look at them. 1. The Rig Veda. The Rig Veda is a collection of songs that praise and discuss ideas like truth, reality, and the universe, along with discussions on war, weddings, and rituals. 2. The Yajur Veda. The Yajur Veda covers stuff such as sacrificial rites and rituals. 3. The Sama Veda. Sama literally means sweet song that destroys sorrow. It is mostly songs dedicated to praising gods. It's different than the rest of the Vedas because it's set to music. 4. The Atharva Veda. The Atharva Veda is my favorite one. Do you want to curse your enemies? Or charm that special someone? Maybe learn to invoke rain? Or discover herbal medicine along with tips on warfare? Like how to make poison arrows? Well, this Veda has you covered, along with a bunch of other charms and curses. It even has a curse against cursers. Avoid us, O curse, as a burning fire avoids a lake. Strike him here that curses us, as the lightning of heaven the tree. A link to the Atharva Veda is in the description, just in case you need a spell to get a wife or another to banish pigeons from your presence. It's great.
What the? I like how he introduced the wife and then the pigeons from your presence. That's just absolutely perfect. He knows how to do it. But from what I understand, is they weren't written for quite a while. So most of this was like word of mouth, like spoken from descendant to descendant to descendant to descendant until there was the written word, and then they wrote it down finally as it was interpreted to them. So it's been passed on for even longer than it was originally written. So some things have changed through the years, but as soon as it was written, it became concrete 100% from then.
After the Vedas come the Upanishads, which are like a sequel that makes the original make much more sense. They were probably written down between 800 BC and 500 BC, during a time when some Hindus started to question the Vedas. Their ideas became the Upanishads. The Upanishads are books on philosophy, like we would expect from Plato or Aristotle. They're all about questioning, doubt, debate, and finding the answers to life's difficult questions. A theme in the Upanishads is that people are not their minds, or bodies, or egos, but their Atman. Your soul is you. Everything else is unreal and temporary. After the holy texts like the Vedas and the Upanishads are other less divine but still important texts. These include stuff like the Puranas, the Bhagavad Gita, and the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. The Puranas are like encyclopedias of Hindu beliefs. There are 18 well-known Puranas. The Puranas cover things from yoga to
I mentioned that earlier.
army organization, to taxation, to the caste system, to hell, gods, and everything in between. The Bhagavad Gita, Gita for short, is one of Hinduism's most important texts. The Gita takes place on a battlefield where Arjuna, a great warrior, refuses to fight. Lord Krishna steps in to urge Arjuna to fight, and their discussion covers things such as Dharma and how to live your best life. Arjuna eventually fought after Lord Krishna taught him the truth about Dharma. As a member of the warrior caste, Arjuna's Dharma was to fight against evil. The lesson of the Gita is that everyone faces difficult choices, but they must act on them according to their Dharma.
Ice cream. Choosing between mint and chocolate. Of course.
No matter how unpleasant. Along with all these philosophical texts, Hinduism has two action-packed epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. The Ramayana, the earlier of the two texts, tells the story of Prince Rama. In the epic, you find out about his 14-year-long exile, the abduction of his wife Sita, his battle with the evil demon Ravana, and his awesome monkey sidekick Hanuman. The second epic, the Mahabharata, is the longest poem in the world. 5 times the length of the Bible and 8 times the length of the Iliad and Odyssey combined. It rivals any soap opera you've ever seen when it comes to drama. Murder, betrayal, love murder, and giant battles. The Mahabharata has it all. The theme running through the Ramayana and the Mahabharata is that Dharma must be followed for society to function. In Hinduism,
Well, that is kind of like common sense. In order for things to progress, people have to do their tasks. Like, I drive a forklift. If I don't drive the forklift's not going to drive itself. I had to do my task in order for the task to get done. Everyone needs to do their job when they're working that job. Like, I've always been of the mind, when you sign a contract to work for a company, as you are there, your time is theirs. Everything you do while you're there is for the company. I guess that's the Dharma perspective. That's my task while I'm there. I am an employee of that company. That's what I'm supposed to do. That is all I meant to do. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about my task. My task is set in stone. That is my task as I'm there. So it's like that right there, I guess, right? The analogy is more common sense, I would say. That might upset a few people, but in the end, if you're working for someplace, aren't you supposed to do the task you're working for? It's just that simple. You're there to do something. If you don't do it, it's not going to get done, or they'll end up finding someone else. But if everyone chose not to do their task, nothing would move forward. Nothing would get accomplished. And that just makes common sense that you need to do what you're supposed to do.
there are 4 goals a person should aim for to have a good life. The first of these is Dharma, followed by Artha, the pursuit of prosperity and good reputation, Kama, pleasure both in body and in mind, and Moksha, the release from the cycles of rebirth. Hindus should practice Artha and Kama with Dharma in order to achieve Moksha. There are also 6 temptations Hindus should try and avoid. Kama, lust and materialism. This Kama is different from the good Kama mentioned above, I know. Next is Kruda, which is anger, Lobha, which is greed, Moha, which is unrealistic attachment to things, people, and power, Mada, which is pride, and Mat.
I gotta say, with that last one, attachment with like people, things, I kind of see a lot of that when it comes to like the actors in Indian cinema. A lot of people will die on their horse for these actors, and I'm just like, they're people like everyone else. Sure, they're great actors. I don't know them personally, so I can't say. I mean, if I was a friend with one of them, I could be on the defense, but hearing people that know absolutely nothing about the personal lives of these actors going on the defense for these actors is just like, sure. Just be happy that your actors aren't on social media. They'd end up destroying their own career the way Hollywood actors destroyed theirs.
Sarya, which is jealousy. By following their Dharma and avoiding these 6 temptations, a Hindu
Jealousy
can
is the
break
one.
the cycle of rebirth and have their soul merge back into Brahman.
Wait, I need to rewatch that. Just because I was so busy talking, I missed it. So, the jealousy one is a guy who's texting,
Attachment to things, people, and power.
and of course,
Mada, which is pride, and Matsarya, which is
a
jealousy.
woman trying to
By
figure
following
out
their
what's
Dharma
being
and
texted.
avoiding these 6 temptations, a Hindu can break the cycle of rebirth and have their soul merge back into Brahman. But even though everything comes from Brahman, who is the one real thing in Hinduism, Hindus do, after all, have thousands of gods. So let's take a look at them. First, there's Brahma, the creator. He created everything in the universe, but he is not the universe itself, because that's Brahman. They aren't the same thing. That last letter changes a lot, apparently. He has 4 heads. The heads face each of the 4 directions to represent the 4 Vedas, which he created, and the 4 yugs. He also holds a book, which represents knowledge. Oh, and he rides a giant swan because he's just fancy. His consort is Saraswati, the goddess of learning. Vishnu, the preserver, is the second member of the Hindu Trinity. He preserves the world created by Brahma until it is eventually destroyed by Shiva. He holds a discus, which he uses to cut down anyone that tries to mess with his Dharma, along with
I saw that
Conch,
weapon.
which symbolizes victory and the 5 elements.
I use that
Vishnu
weapon in a
has
game.
many avatars, such as Krishna or Rama, who he uses to defend Dharma on Earth. Oh, and he rides a giant eagle named Garuda. Vishnu has 2
Garuda.
consorts, the goddess Lakshmi.
So is that where the tale of the Garuda comes from? You know, that giant bird-like creature in like fantasy and mythology that is a massive creature. I think the rock is a spin-off of it as well, like that massive bird creature. I guess you could say the eagles and the Lord of the Rings would be another adaptation of that. Is that the origins of the Garuda? Because it is a bird, like in most, from what I know in fantasy, it's like a character that actually walks on two legs, and it actually has arms, can wield weapons, wears armor in the more modern interpretation of the Garuda for like fantasy. If you look it up for like Final Fantasy and Garuda, you get a completely different thing of what I might be explaining, because, well, Final Fantasy has always had some epic creatures.
And Bhudevi. Bhudevi is the earth goddess, and Lakshmi is the goddess of good fortune and wealth. Next is Shiva the Destroyer, the third member of the Hindu Trinity. It's his job to destroy the universe in order to prepare for its renewal at the end of each cycle of time. The most identifiable of his features is his third eye, which he almost always keeps closed. If he does open it and you're in front of him, then you will have your face melted off. When not unmaking existence, Shiva enjoys long walks with his bull named Nandi.
Nandi.
At the end of the Kali Yuga, the fourth age of the world, Shiva will perform a dance that destroys the universe. Which is odd, because people have told me that my dance moves make them wish the world would end. So me and Shiva have quite a lot in common.
You know, I kind of am in the same boat with you, man. I can't dance worth a darn. It's funny because my fiance keeps telling me she's gonna get me to learn. At our wedding, we're gonna dance. And in my head, I'm rolling my eyes. I don't roll my eyes to her. I'm rolling my eyes in my head like I'm getting a headache, because I'm like, this will never happen. I have two left feet. I can move, and if you saw my video, I just stomping around the place. But I enjoy it. I have fun. I'm just myself. If I try to learn, it is staticky. I'm basically doing the robot in a weird, rickety, jinky, some piece of metal that's about to fall apart type of thing. Some gear that's squeaky and everything, and you know it's about to rust off. That's how I move.
Parvati and Sati are Shiva's consorts. Shiva also has two sons, Ganesha and Murugan. Ganesha is worshipped as the remover of obstacles, and Murugan is the god of war. Ganesha holds a very special place in the heart of Hindus, due to him being the remover of obstacles. The elephant head is the most obvious clue to identifying him. He was actually born with a human head, but after Shiva cut that one off, he kind of had to make do with an elephant one.
I called it. Yeah, I actually learned that from crap, what was the game? Uncharted. Yeah, the Sea of Thieves, the side story. Yeah, that's where I learned that. She was explaining the history of Ganesh, and I was just like, what? That there's no way that's true. This is just a video game. That's not real. That's not real.
If you're Christian or Muslim, you're aware that your religion has a bunch of different denominations, like Catholics or Protestants, Sunni and Shia. Hinduism has these too. Hindus developed 4 major denominations, some of which have their own subdivisions. The Vaishnavas primarily worship Vishnu, and Shaivas primarily worship Shiva and his sons.
The end.
Smartas follow sacred texts like the Puranas, the Ramayana, and the Mahabharata, rather than the Vedas. They worship 5 gods and goddesses, Ganesha, Durga, Surya, Shiva, and a preferred avatar of Vishnu. Finally, Shaktas worship the goddess Devi. Shaktas see Devi as the ultimate and eternal reality, like a feminine Brahman. Even though there are all these variations and more, the core beliefs of Hindus remain mostly the same.
Always safe to say
Hindus
mostly.
believe that Dharma keeps the balance in the universe. If the scales between good and evil start tipping towards evil, then something needs to intervene to fix the universe's Dharma. This divine intervention is known as an avatar. The literal meaning of the word avatar is descent. Avatars are gods that descend to Earth to intervene whenever help is needed to restore Dharma. For example, when the Earth was dragged underneath the ocean, Vishnu descended to Earth as the avatar Varaha, a boar, and dragged the Earth back out. In other cases, Vishnu was born on Earth as a human avatar like Rama or Krishna, where he spent his avatar's life fixing Dharma. So, the caste system. If you only know one thing about Hinduism, this is probably it. People see it as an oppressive system that locks people in place based on their birth. And for a huge part of history, that's what it's been, unfortunately. Let's do a quick explanation of what the caste system is. In Hinduism, there are 4 castes or classes that you can be born into. There's the Brahmin, the priest, the Kshatriyas, the warriors, the Vaishyas, the traders, and the Shudras, the manual laborers. The main basis for the caste system can be found in the Bhagavad Gita and the Rig Veda. Krishna says in the Gita, "I have created a 4-fold system in order to distinguish among one's qualities and functions." The Rig Veda also refers to the 4 castes. It says humans were created from parts of the god Purusha, the Brahmin from his face, the Kshatriya from his arms, the Vaishya his thighs, and the Shudra his feet. This system was supposed to assign people functions based on their abilities, not their birth. If someone had the qualities of a Brahmin or a Vaishya, they could fill those roles. The Gita didn't restrict movement among castes, and the caste system functioned as intended for a while.
So basically like an educational system where if you know more, you're granted more. You're allowed to get further in life. I mean, now going to a college here in the US is a joke. You'd get far further going to a trade school here in the US because there you would at least get somewhere instead of learning something that isn't usable in the real world. And getting brainwashed.
Until a document known as the Laws of Manu came about around the 5th century BC, popularly referred to as the Manu Smriti. They created hard rules for Hindu life. 2 rules presented in it contributed to the way the caste system turned out. Manu states that the Brahmin were the lords of all castes, and he forbid moving among the castes. The caste you were born into was now the caste you're stuck in. If you give humans a hierarchy, they'll exploit it, and things will go sour pretty quickly. As time passed, Hindus began thinking in terms of upper and lower castes. Soon, cleaning toilets, tanning leather, and dealing with meat products were thought to be impure. The people doing those
are some of the most knowledgeable, not knowledgeable, those are some of the most valued positions that are needed in society, at least until machines start taking all those positions. Then people will just start moving up in work and finding other jobs. But how could you devalue someone for doing those jobs? I mean, heck, I've flipped burgers. I have worked in restaurants. I've climbed the ranks at places. I have been managers at restaurants. I've been managers at 2. I've been catering and a kitchen manager. I've done so many things, but you have to start from somewhere. You can't you can't look down upon someone because of their place in life. You could, this is going to sound kind of hypocritical. You can look down on someone for their choices in life if they're trying to better themselves. You can't really do that. You have to take inspiration from the fact that, well, this person was doing all of this, yet he turned his life around and is now doing so much better. You can take inspiration out of that. But someone who's a gangbanger and just chooses to be a gangbanger and literally, you can't really, you can look down upon them. I mean, that they really know, or you can feel pity for them at least, because they don't know any better. They've never probably known any better. A lot of people just grow up in that kind of dynamic, and it's just the way it is. Like, heck, there was someone who was talking to me the other day at work who confessed to something that's illegal here in the US. Completely illegal. But to him, it's completely natural because he grew up around that. I didn't feel bad for him. I was just like, in the back of my head, I was like, that's illegal, and he just confessed to something that's illegal. But I mean, I'm not going to hold it against him. It was just, what I hold against him is the fact that he doesn't know how to work, the fact that he just absolutely does nothing, the fact that he's on his phone watching videos for like 20 minutes out of an hour. Just stops working, starts watching a video. That's what I look down upon him for, not because of things he mentioned, how what he does or lack thereof. But yeah, you can't look down upon someone because of the job they do. If they're doing it, you can take respect and like joy the fact that they're doing it. If they're not doing it, that's when you take an issue in it. I guess that's where I'm heading towards.
Jobs became untouchables, the lowest of the low, a people without caste, and the rest is history. The modern world has brought many changes though. Now Hindus mix freely while working together in the same businesses, attending the same schools, and generally just living together. But when it comes to marriage, many Hindus still stick to their own caste. But this too is changing, and on Hindu dating websites you can actually see people list a non-preference for caste. It'll say caste no bar. So those are the basics of Hinduism. It isn't even close to covering everything. One video simply can't.
Well, I gotta say, I do know a lot more now, but honestly, there were people telling me, that's completely wrong, where the caste system was, honestly, it was probably reinforced and made, doubled down upon when Britain kind of started running, when they took over. They probably used it to their advantage, manipulating and everything. But the caste system has always been a thing, and I was told otherwise. I was lied to.
Do it. Hinduism is too diverse, too deep, and means too many different things to different people. But learning even the basics of this fascinating and ancient religion gives us an insight into the worldview of over 1 billion people. And I hope you enjoyed it. You can find all the sources used in the description below. If you would like to follow your correct Dharma, then please subscribe.
Nice.
If you're
I gotta
interested.
say, I really liked his video. I really liked the animation. I like how he does it. He's very comedic. He knows how to make jokes out of serious situations. He knows how to make light of things. I think the only thing I took issue with was the part where it would just seem like common sense. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, nothing happens. Well, that's true of everything. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, nothing is going to happen. Nothing's going to change. You have a job to do. You need to do it. That's the only thing. It's just like the Dharma, right? The you have to do what you're expected to do. Yeah. If I don't do my task, like this right here, I enjoy this. This is a hobby to me at this point. I'm a worker first. I'm a low caste worker at this point, and just because I need more money. So I'm a low caste worker. I do this for fun. I enjoy this. You all are great. You all make fun of me, tease me, and sometimes value what I have to say. I mean, it hit or miss. You can get a laugh at me. You can enjoy it. But yeah, I mean, judging someone off of the fact that they do something is just bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. I mean, it's weird to look down upon someone for, oh man, look at that. I just noticed this. In his background, he has crap, what was it called from Skyrim? And then he's got a stormtrooper, like a good stormtrooper. He's got the Eye of Sauron, and I'm not sure what that one is. Back behind my hat, I'm not sure what that one is. I kind of feel like a very bad nerd not knowing that. But he's got a soda, and of course, my favorite, he's got a coffee mug right there, and better have coffee in it. But yeah, I absolutely did enjoy this. This is actually very, very informative. Very informative. So it reinforced some of the things I already knew, and it apparently changed the things that I apparently didn't know or was led astray of, like the caste system didn't exist. But it was the fact that it was different means a lot. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I absolutely did enjoy this. This was actually a very fun watch. Thank you all for watching. Talk to you next time. Toodles.